Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Above the Rim Rundown, where we run down all things NBA. I am one of your hosts, Memo, and right beside me, I got Hoops. How you doing?
How you doing, man? Overall, I've been doing pretty okay, just hanging through per usual. Um, this week, obviously, technically, yeah, yesterday was Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really do much, honestly. Kind of just like walked around the neighborhood, take a look at some of the neighbors' decorations, and then aside from that, mostly just stayed home, honestly. Um, what about you? How you been doing, man?
I've been good. I'm still slowly recovering from being sick. I think I mentioned last week that I was kind of getting sick, and I did get sick. But yeah, I'm for the most part fine. It's usually the mornings. The mornings are always rough. That's where I feel the most sick, where I'm coughing the most and stuff like that. I don't know why that's the case, but it is what it is. But yeah, I'm doing all right. Yesterday was Halloween. I still got some Halloween decorations, like that skull. Um, I also bought this today at Walmart, so it was on sale. Look at this.
Oh, that looks cool.
A random ass axe, but
You
yeah,
could be you could be the Grim Reaper next year.
maybe that this year, I did buy a costume because we went out trick or treating with the little baby cousins that we have, uh,
Nice.
living with us. So I decided to join them, and I walked around as Doodle Bob from SpongeBob. I don't know if you remember that episode. Um,
Not really, honestly.
no,
Oh,
it's a pretty
oh,
iconic episode, so I'm kind of surprised you don't remember.
wait, hold on. Let me look that up.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Hey, I remember. I
Yeah.
remember. I guess I just forgot the name. But yeah, of course I remember. It's just like like the drawing of SpongeBob as
Yeah.
opposed to the real SpongeBob.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's in my closet, but I still have the pencil inflated right now.
Oh,
So I
okay.
was walking around like this, and actually like a lot of people were uh, like saying hi to me, just calling out Doodle Bob from like across the street. It was
Yeah.
kind of weird how much attention I garnered over
Yeah.
the costume.
Doodle Bob is pretty funny, so that's
Yeah,
probably why. Yeah.
probably. So yeah,
Yeah,
that
but that was a classic episode.
it was classic for sure. SpongeBob in general is a classic,
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah, just a low key Halloween. Ate some candy. I've got some candy right here that I might eat while recording today. What's your favorite Halloween candy? Like what's the candy that you want most during trick or treating as a
Um
kid?
yeah, my favorite candy was and still is Kit Kat.
Me
Um
too.
nice.
It's
Hey, good
so
line.
goaded, so goaded.
Yeah. Great minds think alike. But let me say this though. So the regular traditional Kit Kat was the red wrapper, phenomenal. But have you ever had the white chocolate version? Or I think there's also an orange one specifically for Halloween, which pretty much tastes the same as a white one. It might just be food colored. Have you ever tried it?
I think I have, but I usually don't stray away from the classics. I usually
Mhm.
just stick with like the normal stuff. I'm kind of bland on that front. Like when it comes to Kit Kats, I just like the milk chocolate ones. The classics. When it comes to like stuff like chips, I'm a potato chips kind of guy. Classic Lay's type of guy. I don't really dive
Mhm.
into like barbecue or any other flavors. I don't know why I'm like that, but that's usually how
I
I
will
am.
say I will say barbecue, sour cream, and onion are pretty good.
Oh,
So maybe something
I
with
do mess with sour cream and onion. That's a good one. That's
yeah,
not my
they're always good.
go-to, but it's so good.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just gonna say, Low key, I might like the white chocolate one a little bit more than the regular milk chocolate, which says a lot because the regular milk chocolate already is really good. Um, but yeah, I would say Kit Kat's my favorite. Second favorite would be the cookies and cream Hershey's. Have you ever had those before?
I don't think I have, but I love cookies and cream in general. Like that's one of my favorite
Yeah,
ice cream flavors.
me too. It is my favorite ice cream flavor. So yeah, that one's good too. Third, probably Twix, I'd say. I might as well just give a top five, honestly.
All right,
Four,
quick top five.
yeah. So one Kit Kat, two cookies and cream Hershey's, three Twix, four maybe Reese's. Um and
Great
yeah.
pick.
And then five is where like I guess I'm a little bit more unsure. Um I'll just go ahead and for the meantime, I'll just say Snickers for now. Um but five is where like I have a little bit more uncertainty. Yeah. And I will say like Reese's Pieces is good too, but I
Yeah,
decided since I already said regular Reese's, I put something else for my fifth one.
yeah. I'll say Reese's is definitely better than Reese's Pieces.
I think so, yeah. Reese's Pieces I do think is underrated in my opinion. I think of it similar to like peanut butter M&Ms, but then it's like a little bit different. But yeah, that's my little spiel on my favorite candies.
All right, my top five really quickly. I've got Kit Kat up there. Uh, Funny enough, I never really liked peanut butter as a kid, but as an adult, I do like it in doses. Uh, I don't eat it often, but you know, I can eat a ton of Reese's like in a single day. I actually have one right here. Like, this will be eaten tonight for sure.
Right.
So that's definitely in my top five. A new player in the game, kind of. Uh, Been around a couple years. Uh, Nerds gummy clusters. That shit's crack.
Mm.
It's literally crack. It's so good. It's, I don't know if you had those nerd ropes as a kid. Those
Oh,
It's like that, but like cut up into like balls.
so I haven't had the Nerds gummy clusters yet.
Have you had the nerd ropes though?
Ropes. Let's see. I don't recall if I don't think I've even had the
What?
Nerds ropes,
The nerd
but
ropes I grew up on. Like every time my dad would take us to the 99 cent store, rest in peace. uh, we would either get like a small toy or a nerd's rope. It's like this long ass thing of like I don't know what the red sticky part is, but it holds all the nerds, so we eat it like that.
okay, nice.
And now they got
Yeah, I haven't.
clusters, which is really good. It's really good.
Nice. I'm definitely gonna have to look into that one. I haven't had those two yet, but regular Nerds I did like a lot as a kid for
Yeah,
sure.
nerds is up there for me. Jolly Ranchers are insanely good. Uh, Probably like the best hard candy. And then gummy wise, I would either say like Sour Patch Kids or Trolley Gummy Worms. Uh, like the sour Trolley Gummy Worms, which like yesterday when we were giving out candy, there was these like middle school kids that were trick or treating, and my little sister, my youngest sister, was passing them out, and then they kept begging for more of the trolley, sour candy. So they wiped it all, and they didn't even say thank you, which is a
Oh,
shame. What happened to etiquette? What is going on with this country? Like,
yeah. Yeah, I know. The new generation not quite as courteous, shall we say.
yeah, there was people that was leaving trash on our like a porch like small table. I don't remember. I don't know if you remember our little table that we have out there.
Oh,
But
yeah, I remember.
but yeah, they left like a small plate that looked like there was still like marshmallows, like if they had s'mores on it or something. they left that. They left like candy wrappers. It was rude. I don't know why they would do that.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. There was this other family. Well, there was this other family because I'm gonna be honest, okay? Because I walked around, I decided to just why not dress up in my costume, and then
Oh
there were
yeah.
a few houses that maybe like had baskets outside, so I just grabbed some like candy or whatnot. But there was this one family, they were trying to look for, they were confused because they thought they had a basket outside, only to later realize that their basket was gone. So I don't know if some kid like stole their basket or did something to it, but yeah,
Yeah, that
I don't know.
sucks.
I don't know what's up with these kids, shall we say?
What did
But
you dress up as?
um, I pretty much just used my costume that I've used for a while now, my vampire cape.
Okay, the classic,
But
the classic.
yeah, but I also had like the Houdini mask just to like add some extra humor, shall we say? Kind of like singer type Houdini mask. Yeah,
That's
those are
cool.
funny.
That's cool. So I'm glad you were able to have a chill Halloween. I hope we all did, and we're safe. I know Halloween gets hectic sometimes. Even like in our residential neighborhood, there was a car that was speeding through the neighborhood like insanely fast. Luckily, it was like late, so like trick or treating was like done basically. But it was kind of freaky. Uh,
Yeah.
but all right, I guess that's enough Halloween talk. Maybe next year, if like our episode is landing around Halloween, we could like dress up. I know
Oh yeah.
this basketball podcast I watched called the No Dunk Podcast. They would dress up, but they would dress up like um
Like
with like
NBA play.
NBA player like but puns. So one of them was Steve Rash. So he had a Steve Nash jersey and then a bunch of rashes all over. Uh, I think another guy was Michael Jordan. So he was wearing a Michael Jordan costume, but also like hiking gear. So we don't have to go to that extent. We could like dress up whatever we want, really. But I think it'd be cool to dress up maybe next year. Uh,
Yeah, that'd be something to consider for sure.
yeah, I think that would be funny.
It'll be funny. Yeah.
But yeah, we got some basketball to talk about. This isn't a Halloween podcast. This is a basketball podcast after all. So I guess we could jump into it. Why not? And let's actually, before we go over the W and L list, the biggest winners and losers of the week since basically last Friday, we're going to actually go over standings, which maybe it's a little silly doing this now. Because it's so early in the season. But it's also kind of cool to look back at like how teams were at the beginning of the season compared to like the middle and end of the season. And it's also like a good way to like just see how teams are going in a grand scheme because we will not be covering every team today. Because we won't. We just won't. It's too much.
It would take. Oh.
Yeah, we're yappers. We spent like 12 minutes talking about Halloween, not even about basketball. Why? If we talk about every team here, it's gonna be like a 4-hour episode. So, I'm gonna start with the West Coast, the best coast. Go over the standings, and then Hoops will go over the East. And should we start from the top or the bottom? I don't remember how we started it last year when we did this.
I would say go from worst to first. So we can start at the bottom.
All right, so at 15 is the Jazz with a 0-5 record. The only team in the West without a win. We will definitely be talking about them. Number 14, the Spurs 2-3. 13 Clippers 2-3. Trailblazers 2-3. Nuggets 2-2. Right outside of the play-in. Pelicans 3-3. Timberwolves 2-2. Grizzlies 3-3. Kings 3-2, Mavericks 3-2, Rockets 3-2, Lakers 4-2, Warriors 4-1, Suns 4-1, and the Thunder undefeated at the moment with a 4-0 record.
All right, so that was the Western Conference. Now for the Eastern Conference. At number 15, we got the Detroit Pistons at 1-5. At number 14, we got the Toronto Raptors also at 1-5. At number 13, we got the Milwaukee Bucks at 1-4. At number 12, we got the Philadelphia 76ers at 1-3. At number 11, we got the Indiana Pacers at 2-4. And now to the play-in teams currently. At number 10, we got the Atlanta Hawks also at 2-4. At number 9, we got the Charlotte Hornets at 2-3. At number 8, we got the Miami Heat at 2-2. At number 7, we got the Washington Wizards at 2-2. Shocking at the moment. And now into the top 6. At number 6, we got the Chicago Bulls at 3-3. At number 5, we got the Brooklyn Nets also at 3-3. At number 4, we got the Orlando Magic at 3-3 as well. And now into the top 3, we got the New York Knicks at 3-2. We got the Boston Celtics at 5-1. And at the very top, undefeated and currently the best record in the league due to most number of games played, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers sitting 6-0. So those are the current Western and Eastern Conference standings 2 weeks, or shall I say, really more so a week and a half into the season.
There we go. And there, since it's so early into the season, there are some surprising placements, like the Nets in the 5th seed. That's kind of crazy. The Rockets as well in the 5th seed. Most likely these teams will go down, but it's interesting seeing how the NBA teams are doing at this part of the season, very early into the season. But yeah, let's dive into the W list. So let's start with the positives, and let's actually continue the Cavs talk, as you mentioned, the undefeated talk. But yeah, let's start with the Cavs, since they do have the best record in the league based off of the amount of games they played. They are 6-0, kind of surprising a lot of people. Right, we had a lot of questions. I know I've talked about this for sure, about whether Mobley and Allen are gonna fit well together, whether Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland are gonna fit well together. But so far, so good. They are at a 6-0 record, best record in the league at the moment. And the competition it's so, right? 3 of the teams were pretty bad, right? But they did manage to beat the Knicks, which was a team we had a lot of high hopes. Our Lakers, who have had a great start as well. What are your thoughts on this team? How are you feeling about the Cavs? And do you think this? Well, obviously this win streak is not gonna continue much longer. Right? Like they're gonna lose eventually. But do you think this high level of play will continue throughout the rest of the season?
So to start, I'll say definitely Cavs have been a surpriser for sure. I mean, I thought they would be a good team. I didn't think they would be this good of a team that they would start 6-0 in the season. Um, as far as sustainability, I think they're definitely not going to be able to stay this good at this level for like the entirety of the season. I don't see it. But who knows? Maybe they will prove me wrong and keep on doing their thing and sit atop the Eastern Conference. Um I do like what I have been seeing from Kenny Atkinson so far though. A lot better than JB Bickerstaff, that's for sure. Um And so far, as you mentioned, they have played some bad teams and some better teams. Um, we still gotta wait a little bit for them to play the best of the best. Like for example, see how they match up against teams like the Celtics, um, OKC, even though they only play twice a year. Um, and then obviously we seen they already beat the Knicks. That was an impressive win. They beat the Lakers too. Handily impressive win there. But I think the Cavs will definitely remain really good this year. It's just a matter of how well they can sustain and do it throughout the course of the year consistently. I feel like I need to see a little bit more before I completely trust them, but so far so good.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. It is very early to the season. It's only 6 games. But if I were to exaggerate, I am loving what I'm seeing. I've been saying that if they were able to make this talented group work, that they would be a scary team. And yeah, I think Kenny Atkinson is a big reason why. Definitely a front runner for Coach of the Year at the moment. And yeah, he's been able to make this team kind of play by committee. There will be games where Donovan Mitchell is looking like the best player. There will be games where Darius Garland is looking like the best player. Some games Evan Mobley is looking like a best player. Even looking like a most improved player type of candidate. Some people are saying all-star level, which is debatable, I guess. I think I had his stats. I don't know what happened. Oh, there we go. There we go. But he's been playing very well recently. He um, just recently had a 25-point game, 5 rebounds, playing amazing defense. So has Jared Allen, who's, I guess the last game wasn't too good. I think he only scored 2 points against Orlando. Yeah, but he still contributes with 11 rebounds. In his game against the Lakers, he had a 20-point game, almost 20 rebounds, had 17 rebounds. So these players, they're finding ways to contribute. Even if they're not scoring a ton, Jared Allen would be like rebounding, or Evan Mobley would be playing defense. Darius Garland would be playmaking or scoring. Like, they're finding ways to contribute. They're kind of like, again, playing by committee. Donovan Mitchell's by far the leader, but the second guy on the team could be anybody in any given day. Like, these guys are kind of fitting well at the moment. Again, they're not all playing well, or like not. They're not all playing like an all-star every game at the same time, but they're doing what they need to do to win. So I think that's a cool thing to watch, especially since uh, them meshing has been an issue for a couple of years now. It seems like maybe finally it's working out. Kind of like the Timberwolves last year, where we thought maybe this wouldn't work out, and then boom, out of nowhere, they become the best defense in the league and they make it to the Western Conference Finals. So maybe this will happen as well for the Cavs. I remember last season I had high hopes for them, and I kind of lowered my expectations for them. But hopefully they will actually surprise me and do amazing things this season.
Yeah, I hope so too, because I do also like the Cavs team, and the more competition to the Celtics, the better.
Right. But yeah, I guess that's enough for Cavs. And now we can move on to the other undefeated team, which is the Oklahoma City Thunder, a team that we both predicted would be the best team in the West, and looks like that has been the case so far. They are 5-0, and to be fair, the competition hasn't been the strongest. The best team they faced were the Nuggets, who are even looking like the normal Nuggets team that we've been watching the last few years. They've been struggling, so they've been winning against the struggling Nuggets, a kind of impressive Bulls, but still, they're the Bulls, the Hawks, the Spurs, the Blazers. So all these teams, maybe debatably not Nuggets, but the rest of the teams are teams that they should be winning, and they have been winning. So they're at least doing what they're supposed to be doing. And at the moment, they're proving to be one of the best defenses in the league, which we kind of also predicted as well that was going to be the case. You know, they already had such a great defense with players like Shea, like Luke Dort, especially with Chet Holmgren, who is looking like a DPOY candidate, who's honestly looking like the second best player on the team at the moment, which is interesting because I kind of thought Jalen Williams will be that guy, will be the second option. But at the moment, it feels like it's Chet. And it's making me nervous about my predictions for most improved player because uh, it looks like Chet is becoming a most improved player as well. So it's kind of interesting how they got two players that are like kind of in the running in a way, and could also possibly be in the All Star mix as well, especially Chet at the moment, which we'll see what happens there. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the Thunder and how everybody's looking?
Pretty much thoughts on the Thunder is they are exactly what we expected, and that is one of the top teams in the league. The top at the in the Western Conference. As you already mentioned, didn't really necessarily play the best competition. However, you got to do your job, and that they did. Undefeated, no matter who they play against. That's the least you can ask for at this moment. And once they do play against the good teams, that's when things will get more interesting. But I'm sure that they will find a way to continue to win. That being said, what you said about Chet's, if you want to call it shocking breakout start to the season, definitely really impressive and pretty accurate about the fact that OKC potentially has two candidates for most improved player, Chet and J Dub, and also two potential All Star caliber players now in SGA and Chet. And this team is definitely going to remain at the top and really fun team to watch. And coolest part about it, they are still the youngest team in the league right now. Usually, youngest team equals lack of experience. Well, I certainly can't tell from this team because they have the second best record only because they played one less game than the Cavs. But really, they're probably better than the Cavs if we're being real. Um, that being said, I expect OKC. So how I mentioned how Cavs, I'm not sure if they can keep it like up throughout the season. Thunder, I am confident that they will keep it up throughout the season. And so yeah, I think OKC has so far, if anything, met the expectations that most people thought of. But look forward to when they play the good teams.
Yeah, for sure. Those will be definitely like I don't know if this is like the right phrase, but like a litmus test, like just to see where they at against tougher competition. And I'm sure they'll be great because as again, I just want to emphasize this one more time. Their defense is insane. I didn't even mention Caruso, who's been in all NBA teams the last couple years. They don't even have Isaiah Hartenstein in the lineup at the moment. When he comes in, that's gonna just add another talented piece to the puzzle. This team is scary and definitely one of those teams that could be able to defeat the Celtics in the finals, which I guess we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, now we can probably move on to the Suns, right?
Yeah, the Suns, which is another team that has been doing really good this season to start. Um, Expected or not expected, I guess depends on the person. Both of us expected them to be at least relatively good in the playoff picture. So far, really good start though. They are currently sitting second in the Western Conference behind the Thunder at 4-1. Um, So obviously their only loss was against the Lakers last Friday when they blew that 22-point lead in LA and the Lakers came back. Good stuff. Unfortunately now, so since then the Suns have been undefeated 3-0. Their wins were against Mavs, Lakers, and Clippers. They looked pretty good all those games, and the Mavs game they pretty much dominated throughout. And then the Lakers and Clippers games they came back from some deficits, unfortunately. Now Monday's game between the Lakers and the Suns, Lakers had a pretty hot start and they led by 18 early. And then because they had like a really good hot shooting start, and then unfortunately they just choked later on. We all know LeBron didn't have a good game that night. He only scored 11 points, which was like his worst shooting performance in God knows how long. Usually he scores easily more than 10 points. That being said, the Suns did their job that night. They came back from down big early. Essentially, it was almost like the opposite of the LA game when the Lakers came back from down big to beat the Suns. That night, the Suns came back from down big to beat the Lakers. Anyhow, the second game this week, or third, shall we say, since the last episode, was against the Clippers. And once again, they came back from down big. They were down by as much as 21 early in the third quarter, and then they came all the way back, took the lead in the fourth, and then held on to win by 6. So the Suns are now at 4-1. For the most part, have beaten solid teams, and I'll know they beat the Clippers 2 times within 1 week, and then the other wins were against Mavs and Lakers. So in a way, maybe doing a little bit better than people expected. Solid start for the Suns so far.
Yeah, definitely a little surprising. We expected the Suns to be good, but for this good of a start, it's very interesting, especially seeing how they couldn't really make it work last year. But I think Bud is really was the key difference here. Maybe you could add Tyus Jones in there, who's doing really good things as well as their point guard. I think he has a really, really good assist to turnover ratio at the moment. And we know that they really needed a point guard last year because Devin Booker was their point guard. And he was good. He was good at assisting, but kind of took away from his abilities from being an elite shooting guard. With all that said, though, I think uh, Bud is really the key difference. I think the team is looking like a whole new team from last year. Last year, I feel like they kind of took turns scoring the ball, while this year it feels like there's more team play at the moment. And um, yeah, Devin Booker at the moment is also just looking insane. Like he's scoring in bunches. I hate admitting this, but he's looking good. He's looking good. I'm not a fan of him, but Donovan Mitchell, damn, Devin Booker. Devin Booker is balling. He's balling.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is true. And I will say this, the comment regarding Bud, I definitely have my doubts on that hiring. I mean, even though he is doing good right now, I still think that Bud is like kind of like a so-so coach. Like I will say he's probably better than average for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, he did help Milwaukee win a championship. But obviously, sometimes we see his flaws towards the end of the Buck stint, right before his firing, and so forth. But that being said, for sure, looking like a much better fit than Vogel did. So there's that. So far, so good for the Suns and Bud in his current fit. I guess we will see what happens and if they can actually maintain this. Now, I do expect them to go downhill a little bit from here on, but I do think they're still going to be good and a playoff lock without a doubt.
Yeah. Although I do like Bud probably more than you. I think he's a good coach. I know for sure he's more of an offensive oriented coach, which is not really what the Suns needed help with last year. I think the
Yeah.
defense was where they needed help with. But at the moment, their defense is one of the best in the league. They're tied in at four with the Lakers and the Warriors at the moment. So that's a little surprising. But again, it's early.
Definitely
This
surprising.
will probably go down a bit. But, if they are around this area moving forward, who knows? Who knows? Maybe this team will be better than expected. Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
But
Yeah.
right now they're looking good. And I also want to just mention quickly that Cleveland's number one in the defensive ranking, which makes a lot of sense now thinking about it. With those pieces like Allen and Mobley, it makes sense that they would be number one, Celtics number two, and tied with number two is the Thunder, who all three of those teams are doing spectacular at the moment. So, yeah, I just wanted to shout that out since I'm on this page at the moment. But if it's fine with you, I think we can move on to the next team.
Yeah, I think we're good to move on to the next team on the W list, and that would be the Golden State Warriors. So far they have been surprising pretty much everyone,
Very surprising.
including us.
Mm-hmm.
Solid 4-1 start so far. And they have beaten a lot of mediocre teams, but credit where it's due, they have been doing their job and winning at a high percentage. So their lone loss this season was to the Clippers on Sunday at home, which was a game that Steph got hurt in. But aside from that, they've been doing their job. First two games we mentioned last week blew the roofs off of two of the worst teams, the Jazz and the Blazers. You think, whatever, we'll see what happens going forward. But after the Clippers lost, the two games they played were both against the Pelicans, both without Steph, and they looked good in both of them. And Buddy Hield is playing out of his mind. He looks like as if he's like in his prime right now.
He looks like
Like
prime Klay Thompson at the moment. Like he's shooting
pretty
like
much.
crazy. He's playing what
Yeah.
the Warriors wanted Klay to be for the last 3-4 years.
Yeah, perfectly said. I mean, it's like as if they found a revamped younger version of Klay Thompson to replace Klay Thompson.
That's so
Um,
disrespectful.
yeah,
But yeah, I think you're
yeah.
right.
I mean, like, let's not get it twisted. Klay Thompson is doing good in the Mavs right now, but I guess he's a better fit there at this stage than was the Warriors. So there's that. But Buddy Hield, yeah, he's looking like he's looking like he's in his prime right now. Just a straight out breakout start to the season. Um, Now obviously Steph getting hurt was really unfortunate. So far, they still look really good without him. Granted, the Pelicans are very mediocre, so they probably will need his help when they play against better teams for damn sure. But that being said, um, so far so good for this team. Now, Jonathan Kuminga did end up getting benched. Memo knows a little bit about this than me, so I think I will hand the reins to him for Jonathan Kuminga's benching.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to mention this. So I was thinking about putting it in the L list, but since we're talking about the Warriors at the moment and talking about how surprisingly well they have been, especially knowing that in my rankings, I thought they were gonna be the 11th seed, and that could still be the case. I guess we got a long season to go, but at the moment they're playing very well, even without Steph at the moment. The team is playing great defense. Andrew Wiggins is playing like all-star Andrew Wiggins again. You mentioned Buddy Hield, who's been playing amazing. Like a lot of good things are happening for the Warriors at the moment. So I do think it was interesting that Kuminga did end up getting benched. Who a lot of Warriors fans want to see him thrive and become a star, be the number two guy, at least on the offensive side, right next to Steph. But Kerr has decided to bench him, and we all know that they've had kind of a they have some turmoil in the past because Kuminga didn't believe he should be benched. He believed he needed more minutes, and even made like a public statement saying that he would shine if given more minutes. And when Kurt did give him more minutes, Kuminga proved him wrong. Kuminga actually played his heart out and was playing like a star once he got those minutes. But yeah, now it's interesting seeing that Kuminga is being benched. We all know that he didn't get the extension that he wanted over the summer. So to me, these are all signs showing that they might move on from Kuminga. It is interesting that as he got benched, he still got like more minutes than he did while starting and had like his best game of the season off the bench. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Um, but still, I think this move. Maybe Steve Kerr wanted this move in order to help the bench with the scoring, but it also seems like because of the past that they've had, that this is just a sign that they might move on from Kuminga, which might be the move because Kuminga's not much of a spacer out there, and if we want to play Draymond Green as a power forward, Kuminga's gonna need to shoot in order to play the three because he for sure can't play the five, and we know Draymond can play the five, but he is better suited for the four position. At least that's what Draymond has mentioned in the past, and you know Draymond is a lot more important than Kuminga. So at the end of the day, I think it's a weird fit having Kuminga in the starting lineup and in the Warriors lineup in general. So yeah, he might be shipped. We'll see, but um, I think if the Warriors were smart, they would ship him so they don't lose him over the summer for nothing.
I agree. As you mentioned, Draymond is clearly a better fit for this team. So that being said, he may be older, but he's still the right fit for the team. And I agree that the Warriors should try to find a way to trade Kuminga to get something in return as opposed to just losing him for nothing in free agency. And I honestly do expect that maybe like the trade deadline or something. Um, Obviously, there were the rumors of him potentially being in a trade package during the summer, but the Warriors decided they didn't want to trade pods, so then they pulled out from the trade with the Jazz. But
That was so
yeah,
stupid. Like,
yeah,
come
it
on.
is. It's like I think pods will be good, but like, is he gonna be like untouchable good? I don't know about that.
That's
So
almost
yeah.
like they're not their Lakers THT moment where the Lakers
Yeah.
refused to trade
Oh my gosh.
THT. That was stupid as well.
Yeah. A quick little funny thing about THT. I remember in 2021-2022 season, Bleacher Report made an article. I think it was like ranking the best players in the NBA 29 and younger, and they ranked THT so crazy high. They put THT ahead of SGA.
Oh my god.
Like, bro, are you kidding me? Like, there were so many players that he should have been lowered in that they put ahead of SGA. I think I guess the other ones are not as crazy, but they also put him ahead of RJ Barrett. which although RJ Barrett has been like slightly disappointing lately, he's still better than THT. And honestly, I forgot who were some of the other players. But the craziest is the fact that they put THT ahead of SGA. It's like, what did they see in this guy? That was, I guess they saw the potential, but like ahead of SGA, that's wild. Anyhow, yeah, Warriors so far have been looking so good. I don't know if they'll be able to keep it up throughout the entire season, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Um, Speaking of teams that might not be as good throughout the entire season, we've got the Bulls, who has had such a surprising start to their season. Because this is a team that we all believe should be tanking. We all believe should be bad, but at the moment they got a 3-3 record. Kind of surprising, and they got some wins over some decent teams as well. Bucks, Grizzlies, Magic. These are all teams that they should be losing to. I know Bucks are not doing as well as they should. We will definitely be talking about them, but still, either way, the Bulls shouldn't be winning these games. They should be trying to lose. So, how do you feel about the Bulls at the moment?
Yeah, definitely shocking, as mentioned, because we expected them to be like, I guess, in a way, like a very mid team, which they technically are if you're talking record 3-3, but they definitely beat a lot of teams that we would expect them to lose to. And so far, a pretty respectable start from them. Now unfortunately, Lonzo Ball ended up getting hurt again. I think he like sprained his wrist or something. Hopefully, it's not too major and that he won't be out too long. But overall, they have been looking better than expected. I don't expect them to sustain it. Um, but they'll probably be like, I don't know, like a 10 seed, 11 seed on the border of playing, no playing is what I predicted. So not expecting much from them, but so far better than expected.
Yeah, and I'll say the Zach LaVine is playing very well, scoring about 22.7 points per game, 5.5 rebounds. You know, his trade value hasn't been the best because of his massive contract, but he's still a great player, and I'm sure a lot of teams would love to have him. Um, like maybe the Magic, they definitely would need like another scoring punch. The Nuggets, with Jamal Murray not playing as well, they would love a player like Zach LaVine. Nikola Vucevic as well is doing really well, scoring 21.5 points per game, 11 rebounds, 50% from three, 55% from the field. Um, so yeah, you know, they should realistically be losing these games. There is no reason why they should be winning. They should be trying to capture the flag. But you know, if you're a Bulls fan, at least it's fun to watch them win a game. You know, this isn't something that they're used to. They haven't been 500 in a long time. So shout out to the Bulls, I guess. Shout out to them. And shout out to the Nets, who are another team that should be taking. And, you know, again, early in the season, the Bulls, I'm sure, are going to start sucking eventually. The Nets probably will as well. But so far, they've had such a fiery start. They actually beat the Bulls recently on Friday. And they beat the Bucks. They beat the Grizzlies. They almost beat the Nuggets. The Nuggets barely squeezed through that one, which they really shouldn't be. We'll talk about them later on too. But yeah, your thoughts on the Nets? Have they been a surprise for you as well?
Oh, they've been such a shocker. I mean, like, they've been shockingly very competitive um, throughout this early start to the season. As mentioned, beat some decent teams and almost beat some not almost beat a few more teams. I mean, almost beat the Nuggets, beat a few not as good teams, and large part wasn't due to the fact that Dennis Schroeder had some very solid breakout performances. Against in the loss against the Nuggets, he put up 28 points, 14 assists, and then in the win against the Grizzlies, he put up 33 points, 2 rebounds, and 8 assists in the upset win against the Grizzlies. Very impressive there. That being said, we all thought that the Nets were going into the season tanking for a high draft pick and be one of the worst teams. So far, they have been completely overachieving. Granted, it's a long season, and there's a chance that maybe this was a really fluky start, and they will start playing like we expected soon. But if they continue the shock, I think the Nets may need to sell the farm and trade guys like Dennis Schroeder, Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson, you name it, if they want to fulfill that tank goal. Because so far, the Nets have been looking better than we all expected. But as far as their tank goal, not meeting their expectations there. So, yeah, the Nets have been shockingly very competitive and winning some games.
Yeah, and we didn't expect this team to be the worst team in the league. I know a lot of people did believe that would be the case, but I don't think either of us had them like at 15. I don't know if I had them at. I forgot honestly where I had them, but I know I did not
I
put
think
them at 15.
I think I put them at 15, but it was like a toss up between them and like Wizards, I think, or
Yeah, I
something.
had the Wizards at the end because I knew the Nets, although they were gonna suck, they at least had pieces. They have good pieces. Their team kind of makes sense. They're young, they're hungry, and as he said, they have players like Dennis Schroeder, who's playing like FIBA MVP Schroeder, who 25 points per game, 8 assists per game on 55% from the field. They got Cam Thomas, who is a bucket, 27 points per game for him, 4 rebounds per game. They have a kind of a crazy backcourt when you think about it. Like the scoring bunches is crazy on this team, and of course they have keep in great pieces as well, like Nick Claxton and so on. I think just recently Ben Simmons even had a decent game, 8 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists, 4 for 5 from the field. Not prime Ben Simmons, but even he's balling a bit. He almost had a triple double. So surprising stuff from the Nets. I did not expect this, and in a way, maybe they should be considered losers for not losing enough because they should be trying to go capture that flag. But again, as I said for the Bulls, as a Nets fans are probably at least happy seeing their team win for once. So that alone will give them a W for this week, and they probably won't get more W's moving forward. So let's at least celebrate this right now. And yeah, let's move on to the last little W for the week. I kind of added this last minute because it happened yesterday, I believe, and I thought it was cool. I'm a statistics kind of guy. I like seeing weird, cool, impressive feats when it comes to stats. And Wemby recorded his second 5x5 game in his career already, which is kind of insane. I'm sure he will one day surpass Hakeem Olajuwon for the most 5x5 games. I believe he had 6 in his career. Wemby could for sure pass that. But yeah, in his last game, he had 25 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 blocks, and 5 steals, which I think was impressive. Do you think he'll be able to surpass Hakeem one day?
So obviously passing Hakeem will be a pretty big challenge, knowing like how great Hakeem was and how impressive his accomplishments were. But never say never. I think it's possible at with this pace of how impressive Wemby has been making crazy accomplishments here in and here out. I think it's possible he could definitely beat Kareem's or beat the record for sure.
Yeah,
Hakeem. That might
yeah, no worries. So even though the Spurs aren't winning, at least the Wemby had that cool game, which probably his best game in the season. I know he kind of had a rough start. He actually got destroyed by Chet the other day. I think only had like 2 points or something. Like it was really bad game for Wemby. Probably not 2 points. I think a little more than that, but still, he had an awful game because of Chet's incredible defense. So I just wanted to give the Spurs something. The 5-5 was cool. In the same game, Chris Paul had a flash in the past where he scored 19 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, 61% from the field, a 37 plus minus. So we're already seeing the effects of Chris Paul as well and how he can help out the team in a major way, even at his very old age. This is actually like really impressive from Chris Paul. So yeah, Spurs aren't winning, but they're showing flashes within some of the players at least.
yeah. And that is why we only put Wemby and not the entire Spurs
Oh
team.
yeah, no, not at all. They don't deserve to be here. But shout out to Wemby. Shout out to Chris for at least having a good game. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
but that's
That
all.
being said,
Sorry, you could continue. Go
oh no,
continue.
all good. Yeah, I was just gonna say. That being said, we have covered our W list. I think now it's time we go over to our L list. Starting
Yes,
off
time to be
is
negative.
yeah. Unfortunately, not everything is all beauty, and the grass is usually green, but sometimes not.
the
That being said, starting off with the L list is the Dwyane Wade statue release.
biggest L of the
Um,
week.
yeah. Um, don't know what exactly that was. They made him low key look kind of like I don't know how to even explain it honestly. They made him look like a super villain. Like I can't. It's like I can't think which supervillain off the top of my head because like he looks kind of like maybe the ice, whatever the Ice King or whatever. Like wasn't there like a supervillain from like Game of Thrones maybe
Oh, I've
that like
never
he
watched
looked?
the show.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but like I seen like funny memes. I think low key he kind of looks like a supervillain from the statue.
I think
It's
he looks
totally
like a superhero, specifically the Hulk. His face is very Hulk like.
yeah, that sounds about right too. And I will say this: um, Dwyane Wade did say in a statement that he had no problems with the statue, and he said this it's an artistic um, stature. It does not need to look like me. If I wanted it to look like me, I would have someone take a picture and make it while I'm inside or something like that. Um, Now he did say that, but I feel like deep down, probably he feels the same way as the general public that they could have done way, way, way better than what they did. And D Wade does deserve much better. I mean, he
hmm
literally Wade County, the king of Miami. I mean, you can say what you want about LeBron and what he bring to the city, but D Wade was there much longer than him, so he's the one that started it off. Not to mention he did win one more championship for the Heat than LeBron did. So there's that. Anyhow, for sure he deserved better from the statue design. Um, but I guess if he's okay with it, full gesture, at least he finally got the statue that he long so deserved. should have looked a little bit better, but I guess if he's fine with it, then it is what it is.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, it's cool having a statue. Not everybody can say they have a statue, but like, come on, this is probably the best Heat of all time. Won the organization 3 rings, the only championships in their organization, and this is how you thank the guy by making probably the ugliest statue in NBA history. Like I can't think of one worse, honestly. Like it's as bad as like that Cristiano Ronaldo one. I don't know if you've seen that like bust where like
I,
his
I,
eyes were like like one was up, one was down. Like it was looking kind of ugly.
yeah, it's almost as bad as that one. I think I still give the edge to the Ronaldo
Yeah, the
statue.
Ronaldo one's really bad, but
Yeah,
this one's not looking good. It might be our NBA version of the Ronaldo statue because I can't think of one worse. Like, yeah, what's going on? Like, what's with the
yeah,
what's with the statue? Like, we've advanced so much in humanity's existence. We've invented AI. We've have all these tools, and we can't make a good statue for Dwyane Wade.
yeah.
Come on.
I just added a funny meme for like the Ronaldo statue and the Wade statue.
Bro,
You see it?
what is that? Maybe I could show this really
So
quickly if I can download it somehow.
yeah, you can like
Uh,
take a screenshot or something maybe, but pretty much context to the podcast listeners at the very least. It is a Thanos meme and replacing the Ronaldo statue face and the D Wade statue face. It's funny. I will say that yeah, the Ronaldo one is definitely still creepier.
okay, so we actually pulled it up really quickly for uh, the YouTube viewers. You are able to see if you are not on YouTube, you are listening it on audio. Hoops already described it, but if you want to see it, go to the YouTube video to find out what it looks like. But yeah, it's Ronaldo. It's Dwyane Wade as uh, what's his name with the hammer?
I forgot honestly.
Dude, how Thor. His name is Thor versus
Thor. All right.
versus
I got
Thanos.
confused.
Uh,
Yeah,
intense scene. I think Dwyane Wade is matching the Thanos part like perfectly, like to the point where I think Dwyane Wade looks like Thanos. Like I know he's supposed to look like Thanos, but his face legit looks like Thanos, like yelling right now. Mostly because of the chin. I think that's why. Um, but yeah, this is a funny meme to look at. You know, seeing
yeah,
these horrendous statues memed out like this is pretty funny to see, I think.
yeah. Definitely funny. A little bit disrespectful for both, but yeah. At least it gives us some funny meme material.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like the memes have been great. I'll say that. The memes for the Dwyane Wade statue are great. There was this famous meme of Dwyane Wade from a few years ago making a funny face with the sunglasses on. I think he had a turtleneck, and they replaced that meme with the statue. I thought that was funny. Um, there's a lot of people saying Dwyane Wade looks like Antoine Walker. That instead of the Heat making a Dwyane Wade statue,
Yeah,
they made an Antoine Walker statue instead. I, you know, it sucks that Dwyane Wade got this statue, but the memes have been good. The memes have been good, and honestly, the concept of um, this statue is pretty cool. You know, this was when this pose was inspired from when Dwyane Wade was celebrating after hitting a big three. I already forgot where or what game.
It was against the Warriors.
The Warriors, yeah. They hit he banked a three for the win, went on the stands and was celebrating. Was doing like this pose right here. So that's where the inspiration came from, and again, idea was great. It's just the result wasn't, I guess.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. But yeah, at least if Wade's okay with it, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah, as long as he's fine with it, I guess we kind of have to as well.
Yeah, but I think that's a good segue for us to move on to our next real team on the L list, and that would be the 76ers. So they are currently 1-3. Their only win was against the Pacers in overtime in Indiana. But what really put them on the L list here is due to the fact that they lost against the Pistons at home, giving the Pistons their first win of the season. Losing to the Pistons in itself is never good and pretty much deserves you an automatic spot on the L list.
I agree.
So, yeah. So, Sixers, you are on the L list for that very reason. That being said, still shorthanded without Joel Embiid and Paul George. Hopefully they can get them back soon, but until they do, it looks like there's going to continue to have some rough sledding. And I'm afraid they might have a little bit of a steep hole to climb out of once they do return. The good news is still early. If they do return soon, I'm sure there will be no problem. They will surely get significantly better if they get their 2 stars back healthy.
Yeah, they for sure will. Like, Joel Embiid plays like an MVP basically every season in his prime, so I'm sure he's going to help out the 76ers a lot. It's just unfortunate that, he's always out. He's always injured. And yeah, it even has brought up like issues to the organization because now I believe I don't have proof at the moment, but we did talk about this last week, how they were being investigated due to Embiid not playing. I want to say the Sixers just got fined for that, but I don't know. Take that with a grain of salt because I did not put that in my notes. I forgot to look into that. But at the end of the day, it's still kind of crazy how Embiid is not playing. They need Embiid to win these games. It's clear as day now because Tyrese Maxey is not enough. And this team does look stacked on paper. We talked about that last week. But it's not enough. It's not enough to win. If you're struggling and losing to the Pistons, for God's sake, yeah, you deserve to be in the L list. And it's going to be a rough season moving forward if they create a huge hole and have to dig themselves out of it, which, as you said, might be kind of difficult. So those are the Sixers. Next, we got the Bucks. Also, very disappointing. Horrible start to the season. I actually had high hopes for them, not only going into the season, but after watching the first game. I didn't watch the full game, but the small amount that I did watch, I was impressed with what I was seeing. Gary Trent Jr. was playing great defense. I also saw Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard looked like he was trying his hardest out there. I saw him play defense with a lot of effort, which is something you never say about Dame. But since then, they've been awful. That was their only win in the season. Damian Lillard is now playing like Damian Lillard on defense. It's not looking good. And again, the only win they have was against the 76ers, who had no Paul George, who had no Joel Embiid. And I'm starting to lose hope for the Bucks. What about you? What are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, pretty much no different than what you said. Thought they would be much better, and unfortunately, it just hasn't looked like it. And very rough start, losing to a, a few a few unexpectedly better than expected teams, but still not very good teams. So that's disappointing there. And the fact that their only win was against a shorthanded Sixers team is definitely also not a good look, because they should have definitely at least been the Bulls and the Nets. Um, and then when they did play a few good teams like the Grizzlies, they just flat out got the roof blown off them. Granted, it's still early and there's time for them to bounce back, but so far I don't like what I've seen for this team, and I'm worried for this team, honestly. Like, I feel like I'm afraid that their window just may be very well closed. And if so, at least they did win a championship in 2021, but they probably should have won like multiple championships with that team. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, at least they won one. It's better than some of those other failed super teams that didn't win a single.
Uh-huh. And it was even a super team. It was Giannis and a bunch of friends working together to defeat the villains, the Suns, that year.
Right.
In a very cool fashion. But yeah, as
Oh
you
yeah.
said, yeah, the window's closing. This might be their last dance. This might be it, because we know that Giannis, all he wants to do is win. He wants to win. He's mentioned in the past that if like the Bucks don't make moves, that he might consider leaving. That's how Damian Lillard got on the team in the first place. Is because of these, like, for a lack of better word, threats. So now that Dame is on the team, they still can't mesh well together for some reason. Maybe they should have had time this summer to play together, because at the moment they are not looking that great. Chris Middleton is still out, but even when he comes back, who knows how well he will be for the Bucks. Brooke Lopez is looking awesome, but he's aging. Like, this is an older team. It might be it, honestly, which is sad to see, because I'm a fan of Giannis. I'm a fan of Lopez. I'm a fan of the Bucks, but yeah, it's not looking good for them. And sticking with like a similar sentiment, like last dance kind of teams, we got the Nuggets, who, you know, we talked about how we believe they're gonna be a bit worse, losing KCP, who, it's KCP. It's not like he's gonna help you become a championship team overnight, even though in a way he did help the Lakers and the Nuggets become a championship team over the night. But uh, with context, we all know that that wasn't necessarily the case. He was an important piece, just not the piece that helped. And also, like, right now, he's kind of struggling with the Magic, but I digress. Basically, as we talked about in the past, we assumed that the Nuggets were going to be a little worse than last season, but at the moment, they're looking bad. Don't you think?
Oh yeah. They've been looking so disappointing. I mean, granted, they've lost to all the good teams, and then they barely beat the bad teams they played. Putting in the context, their record is currently 2-3. They lost the first two games at home, blown out by OKC, lost to the Clippers in a close one. Then they win their next two against two bad teams, the Raptors and the Nets. But somehow they needed overtime for both games. Like, you shouldn't need overtime to beat the Raptors and the Nets. Come on now. You should have blown those teams out, if anything. And then last night, or technically tonight, actually, because it's still not midnight yet for us on the West Coast. Um, the Nuggets played against the Timberwolves in a rematch of their second round matchup. It was a little bit of a back and forth game. A lot of lead shifting early in the fourth quarter. The Timberwolves were up by 10, I believe. And then the Nuggets stormed back, and then they went up 10. And then the Timberwolves stormed back, took the lead, and they ended up stealing that game from the Nuggets. So Timberwolves, it was more so a revenge opportunity for the Nuggets because they lost that series against the Timberwolves. But in a way, Timberwolves were able to keep their ground. You don't call it the revenge because they beat them last year, but I guess you can call it maintaining your ground on that team. And that's what they did. The Timberwolves beat the Nuggets in their rematch of the semifinals matchup, and the Nuggets now drop to 2-3, which is not a good start. And I just wanted to point out a little funny fact I saw and also noticed. Lakers and Nuggets kind of have mirroring past trajectories after their championships. They go with win championship, move on from KCP to get Russell Westbrook, and then struggling. It's pretty sad if you think about it, how similar the trajectories mirror each other. That the Lakers and Nuggets were champs, and then as soon as they got rid of KCP for Russ, they look horrible. But yeah, it is early. Maybe they'll be able to turn their season around, but so far, not good for the Nuggets. Underachieving big time.
For sure. And it's things that we also kind of saw coming. We thought that this team was going to be worse without KCP because their bench already looks pretty bad. I think that was kind of the key reason why they lost to the Timberwolves in Game 7 because they had no bench. And they still have no bench. And now they don't have KCP. And now they have Russell Westbrook, who had one good game. He had a 20-point game recently and played pretty well. But other than that, he's been doing awful off the bench. It's, it's crazy. It really is insane how poorly this team is doing. It looks like Jokic has no help at the moment, which is crazy because they had the strongest starting five for the longest time, but at the moment it seems like
Right.
Jokic has to do everything. He had to have a 40-point game recently. He's just recently he scored 7 threes, which was the most in his career in a single game. He's forced to score more because there's no other scoring option, even though Jamal Murray's still on the team. But it's just not looking good. It's really unfortunate. And I guess we'll see what happens from here. But yeah, unfortunate start for the Bucks, for the Nuggets. And yeah, I guess we could talk about some other teams now. Some teams that we kind of expected to be at least mid, maybe bad. But let's go talk about the Hawks, who just lost 2 games. And were they both against the Wizards? I don't remember.
Yeah, very, very sad. Very, very
Tragic.
sad, okay. The Hawks lost both games in a back-to-back against the Washington Wizards of all teams. Come on, man. If anything, that should have been easy 2-game sweep that you could have done in your sleep. Yet somehow they lost both of them. The home game was a close 2-point loss, and the road game, I think they kind of lost badly, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not okay, they lost by 13, which usually is not bad, but if you're losing against the Wizards, 13 is actually really quite bad. I would consider that as a blowout against the Wizards, because they're a bad team. Yeah, bad look by the Hawks there. I feel like if you lose to the Wizards, you deserve to be on the L list, and pretty much automatically, similar to if you lose against the Pistons. So yeah, I feel like them losing to the Wizards not once but twice within 2-3 days, whatever it was, when they had the home and home. Yeah, not much more need to be said there. The Hawks, they should be ashamed of themselves for this very embarrassing feat that they accomplished, man.
Fair enough. Like, yeah, as you said it best. If you lose to the Wizards, not only once but twice in the same week, you deserve to be in the L list. I agree. Um, but yeah, at least they have a win, which we can't say about the Jazz, who are the only team that are winless. They have a 0-5 record. And it's kind of surprising because they usually start the season off really well. They usually start off on the right foot. They play better than expected and then trade people and start tanking midway through the season. But it looks like they're changing things up. Looks like they're trying to capture the flag, trying to get Cooper Flag on the same team as Lauri Markkanen, because right now they are the worst team in the league. They're playing a lot worse than expected. I mean, like, did you think that they were going to be this bad starting off the season?
I didn't. I didn't think that they were going to be a good team, but I didn't expect them to start out this bad. If anything, I would have expected a team like Wizards, Pistons, maybe Trailblazers to be winless longer. Somehow the Jazz are the last team to remain winless in the league, which is never something that you want to see. I mean, if we're being quite frank, I think it's kind of shocking that only one team is winless after 5 games. Because usually there's a team that's, granted, like, it's not over. They could drag on really long. But, like, usually 5 games in, there might be, like, multiple teams that haven't won a game. Or, like, one team that doesn't win one in a long time. But so far, only the Jazz of all teams being the lone winless team, definitely did not see that coming. And I'm sure their goal was to tank probably the front office. And if so, so far so good.
They're
But
doing
for the
great.
players, yeah. But for the players, feel bad, man. Especially
Yeah.
Lauri Markkanen. Sign that extension only to be a part of a team that can't even win so far. Man, free that man Lowry.
Free my boy, you didn't do none. But yeah, like
Yeah.
they got talented players like Lauri Markkanen, who's of course like an all-star caliber player. I've been a fan of Jordan Clarkson since he's been a Laker. Colin Sexton is good. All of them are actually great pieces to trade. So if they really want to commit to the Cooper Flag race, trade Clarkson, trade Colin Sexton, and hope that you get those, get the right balls falling in and get that number one pick. But yeah, at the moment they are the worst team in the league. They are winless, and we'll see. Do you think they'll win a game this week? Do you think we can talk about how they will have at least a win by next Friday?
Well, depends who they're playing first and foremost.
True.
But if they keep on playing like this, I just don't know. But matter of fact, I am looking at the NBA schedule, so I can talk about who they're playing within the next week to have a better idea. Okay, so tomorrow they play at Denver. Denver hasn't been playing good, but I'm still gonna say no for them there. The following game they play at Chicago on Monday against the Bulls.
That's winnable.
Bulls winnable, but the Bulls have been like shockingly looking better than expected.
Yeah.
So I'm not I'm not necessarily banking on the Jazz to win that one. It's possible, but I don't know. After the Bulls, they play at Milwaukee, another team that has been playing bad lately. You would expect Milwaukee to win that game. Shit, I mean, if they play like how they are right now, who knows? Maybe the Jazz might win that game.
Yeah.
I hope not, though, because I like the Jazz. So, yeah, those are the 3 games that they will have opportunities within the next week to finally win one.
My prediction.
It's doable. There's some teams.
My prediction is they're going to win one game. They're gonna win one game this week.
Yeah. And which team do you think they're gonna beat? The
Mm,
Bulls, maybe the Bucks, maybe.
I'm gonna say the Bucks. Like it's just not looking good
Yeah,
for them. At least the
I kind of have a
Nuggets.
bad.
The Nuggets can beat a bad team. It'll take them like
Yeah,
all their powers and strengths and a couple overtimes, but they can beat a bad team. I don't know if I could say the same for the Bucks. So my prediction is they will
yeah,
beat the Bucks.
yeah. I have a bad gut feeling that the Bucks might be the victim for the first win of the Jazz. For their sake, I hope not, but it's possible, man. But I think that's probably a good amount of talk on the winless Jazz team.
Yeah.
Our next topic is in regards to more so something that a team said throughout the week as opposed to the team itself. And that is regarding the Sacramento Kings Game 7 comments. Now, Memo has a little bit more knowledge and intake on this subject than me, so I'm gonna go ahead and let Memo take the reins on this one.
Yeah, it was about a week ago or so when the Lakers faced the Kings, and uh, after the game, after the Lakers won,
Oh
confetti
yeah,
fell from the
now I know.
sky, which is something that the Lakers actually do during a home win. They uh, do this like all the time, but I guess the Kings didn't
Yeah,
know that. So the Kings, or not the Kings, the Kings commentators didn't know that, and they were being very rude, saying that, uh, just blowing it out of proportion. They're saying, "Oh, you guys are acting like you won Game 7 of the NBA Finals." Like they're being such nerds about this thing. Where in reality, they're just celebrating a win in front of the home crowd. Something that the Kings do very often because they straight
they
up
light beam.
shoot a laser beam into the sky after a win. Like, come on. Like, you're judging us for our confetti, but you guys literally have a giant button that you press every time you win a game in your arena and shoot a purple laser into the sky over a win, over a single win. Come on. Like, I know your franchise is a very sorry franchise who's been one of the most shitty teams in the league for the longest time. It just recently started winning some games with helps from Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. So it must feel nice to win a few games for once. But relax a bit. Talk to us once you fight a ring, once you win a championship. Then you can judge us over some confetti. Talk to us once you surpass our 17 championships before you judge us again for some confetti. Like this was stupid. This was a stupid comment from the commentators, and I just wanted to read about it. So I had to get that off my chest because, again, what was the point of that? What was the point? Like, are you new? Why are we acting brand new? Come on. Well, you guys should be professional sports commentators. You should know that when a team wins, they like to celebrate a win. It's uh, been part of human existence for the longest time. We celebrate wins here. Uh, like, come on. Are we? Were we born yesterday? What are we doing?
Yeah. So when I first read the headline we wrote, I said Memo had more knowledge on it. Actually, I did know about this. I guess I just was a little bit confused on like the wording. Yeah, Kings reporters, they've been known for having like some good announce like some good play announcements every now and then. Like if you don't like that, you don't like and Sacramento Kings basketball. Those are funny, but sometimes it's definitely a little bit cringe. That being said, this one, the cringes of all. Like, just a straight up clown comment. Yeah, over there, he's like, dropping confetti over a regular season win? What is this, game 7 of the NBA Finals? It's like, dude, how do you not know about the tradition of the Lakers? Like, I'm pretty sure you've witnessed a lot of Kings losses at Staples Center in the past. So, yeah, I feel like he just was extra in his feelings because of the fact that he thought that the Kings should have won that game and they ended up choking. And that now Domantas Sabonis is no longer undefeated against Anthony Davis head to head. He is now 10-1, which is obviously still a really good record. But like, come on now, you don't need to be crying over a regular season loss like that. Come on now. Yeah, Kings reporters for sure deserve to be on the L list for that one, no doubt.
Yeah, the man will be up there for the biggest loser of the week, but that probably has to go to the Dwyane Wade statue. But you all can let us know
Yeah.
who you think is the biggest loser of the week. Who do you think is the biggest winner of the week? For winner's sake, I would say Cavs. You know, they have one of the best defenses in the league. They are undefeated. What do you think? Who are your biggest winner and biggest loser overall this week?
Um, Biggest winner, best record in the league due to played one more game than OKC. Totally, totally shocking everyone and to start out red hot. And as far as L, I think it has to for sure be the D Wade statue because a very poor job done there. But if we're talking about like an actual team, um, low key, I might actually have to. I was gonna say for a team, low key, maybe the Hawks because they lost against the Wizards twice.
That's
Like I know the
bad.
Sixers lost against the Pistons. Yeah, like the Sixers lost against the Pistons, that's horrible. But like the Hawks had two chances and they couldn't even win one of them against like a team. Arguably, you can even say the Wizards might even be worse than the Pistons. Probably not, but like it's arguable. So yeah, I would say maybe the Hawks, the L as a team, but D Wade statue overall the biggest L of the week.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, that's the W list and the L list for us this week. Let us know your biggest winners and losers in the comments. But yeah, before we end things off, we'll quickly go over some NBA news, and we don't have a lot of good news. Um, in fact, we have a hefty amount of injury news, and we'll start off with probably the worst injury this week, which was Taylor Hendricks, who plays for the Utah Jazz, and he just recently broke his leg in like a very weird fashion. I don't know if you've seen the video, but this was against the Dallas Mavericks game, which they lost, and he was straight up just running. All he was doing was running, and kind of just folded, like tripped and folded onto his leg. It ended up breaking it. It was a kind of gruesome, looking injury, and you know that big of an injury, you can only assume he's gonna be out for a long time, and it kind of sucks too because, um, he's a young guy. In his rookie season last year, he only played 40 games, and this year he's only played 3 games. So, it's a pretty unfortunate way to start off his career, and hopefully he can recover well and have a speedy recovery.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate news there. You never want to see a player have a type of horrible injury like that, especially for young players. It kind of ruins their confidence a little bit, especially if they haven't played a lot of games early on. As you mentioned, only played 40 games his rookie year and 3 games in this very young NBA season this year. So, unfortunate news there. Hopefully, he will be able to make a strong recovery and be able to fulfill his NBA dreams at least a relatively decent level, but unfortunately, for a not so good an obstacle to climb once again for Taylor Hendrick, and wish him the best.
Yeah. And yeah, just continuing on with the injury news. I'll kind of clump these two together since these are two stars that we're gonna be talking about, and that is Paolo Banchero and Scottie Barnes. Paolo Banchero is unfortunately injured and will be out about 4 to 6 weeks. He was diagnosed with a torn right oblique and is sidelined indefinitely, according to ESPN. And this is such a shame because he's been having such a great season to the point where I really wanted to put him in the W list this week, because he had the first 50 bomb of the year, um, which was he had such an amazing game. He's playing a lot more aggressively. Again, is kind of carrying the Magic offensively, but Franz Wagner and Suggs are contributing a good amount. So things have been looking good for the Magic, but now it's gonna change due to this injury, and Scottie Barnes is now injured as well. His team isn't doing as well. The Toronto Raptors aren't looking good. But yeah, he's going to be out for at least 3 weeks with a fractured orbital bone injury. Um, and first of all, I hope they both have a speedy recovery. I hope everything goes well. But which injury do you believe is going to affect their respective teams more, the Magic or the Raptors?
Um, I would say definitely the Magic because they are actually a good team and they've been off to a pretty good start. Versus the Raptors, they already were not a very good team, probably weren't going to be a very good team. So they will probably, if anything, just remain bad. So I would say Magic, unfortunately, will be victim of a little bit of a harder loss here due to the fact that their team is more likely to be contending for the playoffs.
And the fact that Banchero is probably going to be out a bit longer. But yeah, this sucks. They're both like young stars that are still trying to make a name for themselves. Like, I know a lot of people have high hopes for them. I know I am as well. I think my biggest regret when we did our player ranking is not adding Banchero, because right now he is playing like a top 25 player. And sometimes Scottie Barnes is on that level as well. But yeah, this definitely sucks for both teams, for both players. I'm sure all they want to do is continue playing for their teams and helping them succeed with their goals. But yeah, that's, I guess, it for our injury news. And we'll end things off with a retirement announcement. Rudy Gay, um, certified bucket, has announced his retirement after 17 seasons in the league. He wrote a letter for the Players Tribune, and in the letter, he mentioned how he felt like the luckiest guy in the world. And yeah, this man, again, what a bucket. This guy is definitely one of those players where uh, you believe like he should have been an all-star at one point in his career. There was a couple times where he had averaged 20 plus point games, I believe, with like the Kings, maybe even Grizzlies as well. Um, what are your thoughts on this news that just came out? All right, we are back. We had some technical difficulties last night that we couldn't fix, but it's the next day, so we're back, and we just finished off my thoughts on Rudy Gay's retirement. So, Hoops, would you like to finally talk about your thoughts on Rudy Gay and him retiring after a lengthy and pretty good career in the NBA?
Yeah, just gotta say, shout out to Rudy Gay for a long, lengthy career. He spent 17 seasons with 5 different teams. I think most notably his stint was the Grizzlies to start because that's the team he was drafted by. And then he got traded to the Raptors. Practically played one full year if you think about it, because he was traded there mid-season of 2012-13, and then the following year in 13-14 he was traded away from the Raptors to the Kings. And it was the Kings he had a pretty nice run also. Matter of fact, a few of his peak seasons were actually with the Kings, which even I don't necessarily recall, because I always thought that he was best with the Grizzlies. But he also had some peak years with the Kings. And then after the Kings, he had some good seasons with the Spurs on some of the. I guess one of the years was the final year of their contention. And then after that was unfortunately the rebuild phase Spurs. But nonetheless, still had some nice bench seasons. And then finishing off his career with the Jazz, unfortunately, didn't quite do as much because it was the tail end of his career. Then again, those Jazz teams, well, okay, he was with the Jazz 1 year when they made the playoffs, the final year with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. So at least he was able to have like some winning basketball in a way that year. But his last year in 2022-23 was the rebuild Jazz, and he was not really as big of a piece then because it was his last season in the league. And overall, though, I gotta say, Rudy Gay was a really good player. He was pretty fun to watch. He was a certified bucket, making threes at a pretty good percentage. And yeah, definitely wish him the best in his post NBA career.
Yeah, for sure. I think I said this yesterday, but he's one of the best players to never make an All-Star game. He's up there with like the Josh Smiths, the Jamal Crawfords, the Al Jeffersons, Lou Williams. Just like buckets. A true bucket getter. Very clutch player as well. And yeah, had a very interesting career. Unfortunately, not a lot of playoff games in general. I was gonna say playoff success, but I think the first time he went to the playoffs was when he joined the Spurs, which was well into his career. Um, so unfortunately, he couldn't win it all, but he's still a fan favorite. A lot of people loved him in the 2K games. He was definitely a fan favorite there. So yeah, I wish nothing but the best for this guy, and I hope he has a happy retirement.
Definitely. And yeah. And just a slight correction there. I think he made the playoffs with the Grizzlies in 2010 and 11. Though just maybe he was injured for a little bit, so I don't know if he played during the playoffs. But I know the team made it that year. But I think his real chance was more so with actually did the yeah, I think his real chance was really when he was with the Spurs, because I know for sure they made it in 12-13, but that was when he got traded. But yeah, overall though, unfortunately, not a lot of playoff games because his teams, for the most part, were more like the mediocre side of things. But overall, he was really fun to watch for sure.
He definitely was. So shout out to Rudy Gay, and I think that's it. We had a good lengthy episode, so I hope you all enjoyed that. Enjoyed going over the W list, the L list, and some news. We'll definitely be back next week for more of that, talking about the best and worst moments of the NBA league. But yeah, we are done here, so hopefully you are enjoying this episode, liking the video, commenting down below. What do you think is the best winners and losers of the week? Please let us know. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow us on the Spotify or Apple podcast platforms. And yeah, check out social medias as well. I'm gonna see if I can make some TikToks. I will for sure have a clip out on YouTube later this week. But anything you want to say before we head out?
Yeah, pretty much just mirroring Memo's words. Thanks as always for the constant support from you guys. Wouldn't be where we are today without your support. If you like our content, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share. Now we are in the groove of the NBA season, so there's only going to be more and more fun content to come. And we're going to be entering the third week of the season where teams are slowly but gradually getting more in the groove. And then I believe in maybe a week or two, that's when we have the in-season tournament game starting again. Or I guess now the Emirates NBA Cup, hence the new name. So that'll be fun too. But yeah, we will add in some special twists where appropriate. So definitely stay tuned for those also, because those are always fun.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, what he said. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all next week. Bye bye.